welcome to this session. I really appreciate all you guys taking time on Saturday while a lot of folks will be enjoying watching TV, which means you guys have commitment to do something great in your life, learn, I think, appreciate yourself. Then we'll start, right? Thanks, Mel, for a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. And thanks, Skill-Lync, for this opportunity to talk to students, share my thoughts. So these are my personal thoughts, nothing related to my organization as such. I just wanted to call out that these are my personal thoughts overall. So yeah, let's get started. I think given the students are the primary audience to a great extent, I'll try to fine-tune this content to students so that you understand what is cloud computing, how does it benefit you guys overall. At the same time, if someone is experienced, probably you might be knowing all this information, but I hope you learn something new from this session, which will be helpful for you going forward, right? So if you guys observe, right, the session's subtitle, don't be left behind, learn it and get a high paying job, right? You guys would have been hearing about cloud computing for several years, right? It's been there from past 5+ years or 6-7 years, all those things. But continuously, it's been increasing altogether. So in today's job market, this is one of the most marketable skill, which is giving a lot of opportunity for anyone. It could be students, graduates, or even someone like 10 years experienced persons. So I think this skill going forward will make anyone to stand out from the crowd. I think that kind of skill is one is cloud computing. So that's the reason I thought of, okay, don't be left behind with the trend, learn it at the right point and get into a momentum where you can get into a high-paying job and a good position as you move forward in the career, right? The world is changing, evolving very faster than before. As a result, the demand for skilled professionals also changing, right? With that, the cloud computing will become hot in the marketplace. So this webinar is for anyone who is looking forward to learn, understand what is cloud computing, what are the different trends going on, how can I start my journey as a person who is not even understanding the cloud. Right, that's what is the cloud computing, this journey altogether, right? So in this session today, we'll talk about 5 major things. I think from each other thing, you should be able to get the outcomes as such. First, what is cloud computing? Understand cloud computing versus what is other than cloud computing. Earlier, how traditional computing used to be done. Organizations, how they used to operate. What's the big difference between cloud computing versus traditional computing? Plus, why is it growing in the first place? Why is so much demand? What are the benefits it's giving to individuals or organizations? What can it be, right? In the first place, why is there so much boom in there in the second? The third thing is, yes, it's growing, but what are the new trends which are about to come in next year or upcoming years by 2023, 2030? How does the cloud is shaping the industries, different industries? It could be health, it could be education industry, a lot many industries. But in this specific seminar, I think session will talk about generic trends in cloud as well as certain few trends in telecom domain, because I think there are certain telecom domains still it's in nascent phase, still evolving, and which has a huge opportunity as we move forward. Then, while good, you understood cloud computing, you understood benefits, let's say, and what are the trends, you know it. But why should you learn in the first place? Whether you're a student or a professional, if you're already working in some organization, either doing a software engineering or application development, why should you learn? What are the advantages that gives you? Which means what are the different career prospects you might get it, right? What kind of jobs are there? What kind of roles are there? Which companies might be hiring? How do you prepare for that? I think those things will learn, and how to start and learn cloud journey, skill development kind of thing. So yeah, what is cloud computing, right? We'll talk about this slide in specific, right? So primarily cloud computing is delivering computing services. What are they, right? Someone needs servers, someone needs database to store some information, or some companies need networking, or as an end user, right? I might need a software as application, right? I want to use a Gmail or an email or photos, right? Or some company wants to do analytics. Okay, how is my organization performing over a period of time, right? Or intelligence. Overall, serving all these services, computing services over internet, that is cloud computing. So let's say if the cloud is not there, right? What an organization has to do, they have to set up all these things on their own, infrastructure, maintenance, what it could be, right? So overall, getting these services over internet via browser without even worrying about backend complexity altogether, is cloud computing in a simple terminology, right? Okay, what does it give a benefit for you, right? It gives faster innovation, so that, let's say if I'm a startup company, right? In my introduction, it was talk to school, right? Though I have an idea, should I focus on servers? Should I focus on database structuring? Should I focus on software building? Should I focus on networking? Versus should I focus on business or agility, innovation, right? I think cloud provides a lot of faster innovation, flexible resources, and economies for scale. Like, I'll give an analogy, right? I think if you guys see, we have power supply at our home, right? We get all the power supply, right? Does every company produce power? It could be big companies, or does every metropolitan city produce power? No, right? Power is generated by specific companies, which are power sources. Handful of companies are there within India or across globe, and they generate enough power. They pass it on to end users in a subscription model. Every month pay this one, right? So we are using power, that is electricity, as a utility, right? It's exactly the same concept here. Companies like Amazon, AWS, Google, GCP, Azure, Microsoft, they have built these infrastructures which help them to scale their businesses, and they have enough pool where they are giving these utilities for end users. End user could be either individuals, startup people, or it could be big enterprise altogether, right? So think of, like, always compare cloud to your electricity as utility. So cloud is a utility for anyone who wants to use these services, a click of button, without even worrying about any technology, what's the back, and all those things. So it provides fast innovation, all those things, right? And there are different layers of cloud computing. I'll not deep dive into that, but I think I covered, right? IaaS, infrastructure as service. Okay, I don't want to get anything. I want just servers, bare metals like computers, set of computers. I want to install something. How can I get it? Earlier, if you guys, I think most of you guys might not know, right? 10 years back, when I used to work as an architect in my old organizations, when we need to launch a product, we need to give a overall request for fulfillment for infrastructure. Oh, I need 10 servers in production of 100 GB RAM or 1 terabyte of hard space and this much network capacity. We need to give almost 6 months in advance, so that network team, security team goes and buys those things, assembles those things, get it, right? That used to take more than 6 months of lead time for us. But nowadays with the cloud, I can go and click, choose what I want, and get that infrastructure and build on top of it. That is infrastructure as service. Then PaaS, platform as service. Okay, infrastructure is bare metal. On top of that, there's a platform. Like, okay, I don't want to install Linux on top of that. I don't want to install Windows on top of that. I want to use the platform capabilities, right? Like Docker or anything, right? Which platform, it has a lot of capabilities, more than infrastructure. That's platform as service. Then SaaS, service as a service. System as a service as a service, which is like Gmail, right? You're getting a service like mail service without even worrying about what is inside, like photos, Gmail, or you can think about any other services which you can think which you use for your business benefit. I think those are the layers of cloud computing. Then we have seen cloud computing, right? Then why is cloud computing growing in the first place? So cloud computing, it primarily reduces capital expenses. Let's say if as an entrepreneur or as a company, if I need to build all those infrastructure, I need to purchase the infrastructure, I need to purchase the networking, all the things, and then invest into that to make this complete raw infrastructure to make it working with the LAN, all those things, plus servers with configurations, installations, all those things, right? So capital cost is much higher when any organization, individuals builds their own infrastructure, right? It reduces capital infrastructure. At the same time, okay, fine. I spent 3 months of capital and then install all the things, but it has to be maintained, right? Because nothing infrastructure will change. Some issues might happen, or software might be updated. There can be viruses, right? It need to be maintained, operational, right? So operational cost will be recurring assets. So organizations, how can they reduce costing from capital expenses, that's one-time investment, plus operational cost, recurring operational cost, maintenance cost. So it will save all those things. At the same time, if you see business innovation, Should they worry about infrastructure? Should they worry about configurations versus what is their goal? They should go and invest and they should give the business value to the end users. So that's what it's providing, cloud, with infra and technology together without even worrying about it. And one of the other key important thing is agile and fast response to market conditions and consumer demands improve security. I'll pause a moment on this, right? If you guys observed 2 years back when we had with pandemic, Corona, right? How quickly organizations shifted from office working to work from home, right? Within a week's time, most of the organizations were able to enable all their employees to work from home. How did it possible in the first place? If the cloud was not there, small companies or medium scale companies who were not invested into lot infrastructure, it would have been impossible for them to enable their employees to work from home. Cloud made that so much easiness. The reason I'm picking that example is pandemic came without any notice, right? So market conditions changed, environment changed, customer demands changed, employees demands changed. Suddenly, how can they adapt to agile and fast response? So cloud provides that feature. So that's one example, right? As a business owner, you might have a lot of things. They might have a lot of things. How can they quickly ramp up? Let's say a company is having 1,000 users on their website, but suddenly their organization has a lot of demand. Their website has a lot of demand. If they are managing their own website, scalability would be an issue. Suddenly, people are a lot of lakhs of people are coming to the website. But cloud can provide opportunities where nothing to worry. As number of users are coming more, infrastructure will scale. No need to worry. You focus on the business. It's a lovely thing to have. See, right? Without even worrying about whether my infrastructure will work or not, whether my website will go down or not, whether my order placement will happen or not, whether my operational my infrastructure will be able to handle or not. Ignoring all those concerns to the cloud, focusing on business, it will provide that. At the same time, improve security, right? You guys would have seen a lot of news around security hacking across major companies, right? Within cloud or outside cloud, right? But does every organization, whether it's small organization or big organization, do they have skills, potential knowledge to manage security, withstand the hackers? No, right? Not everybody is expert in security. Can they invest? No, right? So cloud provides these things because cloud providers are making those security solutions into cloud from design standpoint itself. Given it could be all the 3 companies which are major or any companies, they're experts in security management. They're experts in cloud. So they are making the solution to security. So all these things are making cloud to grow as quickly as possible as global. I've given some stats here, right? You see, by next year, end user spending, that is end users like us, not the enterprises, on cloud, it is about to reach $600 billion as per Gartner. So which is a huge amount, which means you understand how much growth next year cloud is going to see. At the same time, if you see overall revenue across cloud, all the sectors, one of the report published by Grand View Research, we'll talk about that in upcoming thing, is $1.6 trillion of revenue, which is mammoth, right? I think those are the reasons why cloud is growing, because it's giving a lot of enabling features, easiness. Okay, we have seen why cloud growing, what is cloud, how is it different compared to traditional computing services. But okay, cloud has been there from several years till now, right? It's been almost 8+, 9+ years kind of thing. Cloud has been there. It's being evolving. Are there still trends happening, or will it die? Or did we achieve a plateau of momentum? Not necessarily. I think cloud is just in the incremental phase. If you think a sine curve, right? A curve going up, it hasn't reached any top at all. It is still growing field itself. Some of the trending things in cloud computing, I have listed very few, which are top, which I am really passionate about and looking forward to it, which could change potential scope of business to great extent are here. AI and ML services, right? AI and ML has been this emerging field from last few years, but can every company build AI ML capacity? No, right? Are you building AI ML capacity? It needs skills on mathematics, infrastructure, modeling. At the same time, it needs a lot of infrastructure to train the models, to test them, all those things. So what cloud services or cloud companies are providing is they're providing AI and ML as a service to the end users. Hey, here is a service, you can use it. For example, right? Alexa kind of service, or you scan an image, it will read from the image, it will get the text. That's the ML, right? It has trained it. Or the photo service, you give a photo, it will identify, oh, what is the image, where it's taken, or what are the things which are there in the image. So it is fine-tuning the end users' benefits, and those kind of things are coming. At the same time, there's a lot of growth in edge computing. I think edge computing is one of the key things for telecommunications. Given there are a lot of IoT devices are being handled coming up, we'll see that in the next slide. But growth of edge computing, because a lot of interconnected devices are there overall, because of that, how does these devices talk to each other with scale of volume, all those things, the edge computing is growing a lot. And at the same time, as the overall volume is growing up, you can't expect the latency or performance down, right? How can you maintain those everything together is one other thing which is going. And I'm pretty sure you guys would have seen for last 2 years, Netflix, either Amazon Prime, they have grown so much demand, and still they're able to manage their user base and performance scalability. That's because behind the scene of Netflix or these things, cloud is pioneering that. Because bandwidth required for those things are much, much higher. So something similar to that, in the upcoming years, there is already a trend which is being discussed across technology forums, where cloud gaming as such. For cloud gaming, no need anything, being a browser, play in the cloud, but it needs a lot of infrastructure, high bandwidth. But still there are a lot of places within India or rural areas where there is no proper network. With 5G coming up, we are expecting, our industry is expecting that gap to be reduced, but instead of with 5G, it will not solve everything, right? How can the servers manage that exchange of information, high bandwidth, all those things will come into the picture. So there is one thing. And okay, fine. It's providing a lot of information, right? Still, someone has to write code to build a web application, website, or a mobile application, right? If you guys observed recently, right, or for last few years, 2-3 years back from onwards, there's a lot of trend going on, low code and no code platforms or services. Okay, I don't want to invest in writing code or manage a set of team engineers to write code, to develop a mobile application, to develop a website. So that's where the trend is shifting. Cloud providers are providing their services so that end users, business users can drag and drop using low code or no code platforms to build business applications. I think this will see a lot of trend. That's the reason. This is one of the reasons why small companies or entrepreneurs who are not even techies are able to build websites, mobile applications, and launch their innovations and go into market. I think that's one of the things which will change a lot. Having said this, the bottom pillar, right? Increased focus on security and resilience. Given so much focus is going on, so much people are using, security focus will still continue, and resilience, right? Resilience means instead of so much demand, instead of so many people are using it, so much growth, how can the services be resilient without any disruptions, such that every time, every place, when you ask something, it is given to the end user. I think that's what the resilience means. So that focus will still continue, given the security vulnerabilities are still there. People are trying to target the markets, always trying to exploit. So that is another focus area for cloud for sure next year and onwards, even this year as well. We have seen trends in cloud computing, right? Now let's specifically see some of the trends in telecom industry primarily. Telecom industry needs a lot of new experiences in innovation, right? Think of this, right? Currently we are on Zoom call, right? For Zoom call to be done, we need internet. Who is providing internet for us? Airtel, Jio, or someone else, right? The other communication providers or telecom providers, right? We call them, right? Not only that, right? Earlier, before this innovation internet came, telecom industry used to offer their services to home or business only. But the focus has changed in the last few years. I'm not at home. I'm moving around. I'm traveling. I'm going on a flight, or I'm going on a bus, going on a train. Still, I need my connectivity. That's a shift change from customers, right? That means they should be able to change their thought process from effectively helping their customers from business model. So they need to think about new experiences. What can they innovate? While they focus on that, they can't focus on their infrastructure, right? And their infrastructure could be very age old. So the three focuses that cloud computing, telecom industry is doing these days from last 2-3 years or earlier to that is they're focusing on three. One is how can they make their operational innovation, so that how can they get more insights during their operations so that the operational burden plus connectivity to the end user is much easy. For that, they are using a lot of analytics inside to get it, plus a lot of signals from the overall infrastructure which could go wrong, all those things. Then the revenue model innovation, right? I think we just spoke about revenue model innovation. Like, okay, there is a high competition within the cloud telecom industry. Right? How can they get into revenue, improve their revenue model innovation? If they need to just focus on infrastructure, they can't focus on that. And the business model innovation, the three things are happening. And everybody would have heard smart cities, right? Smart cities are the cities where everything and anything within the city is connected internally, right? Within home, computer, laptop, TV, fan, lights, plus complete home is connected to nearby hub. When we talk about smart cities, that means these are all IoT devices. Understand, right? Earlier, people used to have only one mobile, but these days, one person is having more than one mobile, office, personal, business, and within a house, there are at least each person is having one mobile, one laptop, one TV. See how many devices are increasing, right? When you talk about smart cities, number of devices are too heavy, right? So that's the reason if you see the projection by 2025 by one of the report, 30 billion estimated IoT devices will come into the picture by that time, 2025, in smart cities. To manage those things, telecom service providers has to depend on cloud to take the advantage and move forward. Otherwise, they can't scale, they can't support that. At the same time, 5G network functions are providing cloud native way of doing the functioning, right? So, people who are from electronics telecom domain understands that, okay, all these telecom domains have their own network and they work on these functions, right? Network functions. How can they route calls? How can they do all this telecommunication routing, all these things, right? And there's a big hurdle for this telecom domain to visualize that without even installations first. What kind of installation I need? What kind of issues I may foresee? What kind of scale I need? Unless they install first and figure it out, they never used to get it. But now with 5G and cloud, there is software network functioning, cloud native way, where they can simulate that in advance and see out and figure out, okay, this is what I need to prepare for it. Come out from hardware standpoint to network, cloud network, and then that's what will improve a lot. And this side, if you see how is telecom domain is growing, right? Market size is supposed to surpass by 2030, $105.7 US. I think there's one of the research which was published by President's Research. Okay, we spoke about what are the innovations, what they can do, all those things, but there are still barriers, even as of today. As a telecom provider, what they're thinking is, okay, cloud computing is great. It has proved for IT, it has proved for healthcare, it has proved for education systems, but can it work for telecom as well? The reason why they're having those doubts are because telecom providers have been having their infrastructure, which is very legacy. They came from analog to digital, and within the digital also, their infrastructure is very old, and they never, usually telecom industry never upgrades so frequently compared to software IT, right? Because it involves a lot of effort, revenue, capital plus a lot of years it will take, because it has to be done across multiple their locations, hubs, all those things. So there's always a challenge of compatibility issues with legacy infrastructure with apps which they are forcing and cloud. That's one of the challenge which cloud computing providers plus telecom is working towards resolving this. And other thing is regulatory concerns, right? Telecom is always in the radar of regulations, right? Either it could be TRAI in India or outside some other regulatory body or overall state or country government. The reason why it is they'll have a lot of information about a client like us who are talking over the phone, who are having their sensitive information being discussed or their personal communication. How can this cloud make sure that telecom providers still maintain the regulatory compliances? That's one thing. right? Second thing, security concerns. I think both go hand in hand. Security concern, okay, as an end user, I'm still worried. Okay, if let's say some telecom company goes to cloud, will they host my information on some other country which is totally outside of India? If that gets hacked, what will happen? I think these are the major barriers which cloud companies are still thinking or working with cloud providers, telecom providers together to resolve it, right? But at the bottom line, scalability of cloud, flexibility, switch on, switch off, move, take whatever it is, lower costs because you're not investing in capital, maintenance is not there, and fault tolerance, right? And high performance is giving agility, move faster, and which is helping the telecom industry to build innovation at a faster pace. Otherwise, what are the experience what we are getting now wouldn't be possible in the first place. It would have taken another 10 years or much large time. Okay, I think we spoke about cloud computing, what trends, benefits, plus trends in telecom as well as all things, right? Now I think we are going to okay, that's cloud computing, right? Okay, what is in it for me? You might think, right? Whether you could be a student, you could be a professional already working on an organization, or you might be having your own startup as an individual contributor, what it is, right? So here is the stats I want you to guys look into it. Right? As per NASSCOM report, which is titled Cloud Skills, Powering India's Digital DNA. You guys would have heard it, Digital India, Digital DNA. As per that report, NASSCOM, India will need 20 lakh cloud professionals by 2025, which is next 3 years, right? But as of today, you guys go and check Google, we are at 14 or less than 14 lakhs professionals, less than that. Which means there is a huge gap of professionals which are required. No, I think, sorry, even after 2000, as per current projection, the trend which we are happening, we are about to reach 14 lakhs only. While there's demand for 20 lakhs, it's about to be 14 lakhs only. That means there is still gap of around 5 lakhs or 6 lakhs of professionals is there. Which means there is a huge potential growing demand for cloud professionals going forward. And it is a future-proof career because it is in the emerging trends, and the skills what cloud computing provides are transferable across any industry. Once you have cloud computing skills, you can work in telecom industry, you can work in health industry, you can work in this, but the skills are same more or less, and it pays really well. I think we'll talk about that, what the pay looks like, which roles have pays, all those things. It pays well, and it's a versatile skill. As I was mentioning, you can just shift across multiple things. It's a versatile skill. I'll just give a comparison, right? Let's say if you are a software professional who is joining a company as a software engineer, probably you might be having Python, you might be having C++, Java, and you might be developer, right? Great, that's great, right? Those are fundamentals, which is great. But along with that, if you can focus learning cloud, the amount of growth that you might get in next 2 years in your company would be tremendous, or you might get a good opportunity outside of other company, new organization, because as you move forward, less and less this coding skills are important versus understanding this cloud is important. And software professionals or any professional is just not writing code. It's much more than that. Cloud provides all that 360-degree view of, okay, what does it mean to build a service, build a software, build a computer application, and how to manage it, how to deploy it, what are the best principles. Cloud computing is the best place to learn all those things. At the same time, it has potential roles for technical developers, architects, manager, engineering manager kind of thing, what it is, plus non-technical roles. Let's say if someone is not even into computer science, IT background, but they are good in marketing, they're good in sales, right? Or they're good in thinking about product thinking, or getting something insights around how can these 2-3 things can work to build a good product. Even for those project management skills, cloud has much scope there, right? Let's move on. Okay, so I'll pause here. I think I'll spend a good amount of time here because there are a lot of things which are there here, and this is not the complete final set of list for sure, but I think I'm trying to project more or less lot of majority of the roles, and the role name could change from company to company, profile to profile, but I think these are the bucket of roles which it fits in, right? If you see cloud roles, technical, non-technical. right? Technical cloud architect. You can think of cloud architect is someone who is who can design and implement company's cloud strategy. Let's say there's a company which wants to go from non-cloud, where they have their own on-premises, or the first time they want to move to cloud, or the first time they're evolving into business. These architects provide a roadmap and strategy how to go into which cloud, instead of which cloud provider is right, whether AWS is right, whether GCP is right, whether Azure is right, or whether something is right. They will think about that. So these guys, primarily these roles, ensure everything stays on track on the budget, company's vision from technical standpoint, business standpoint. Are they meeting or not? Are they going smooth or not? So that is the architect. Primarily, he is an architect, or they are an architect for enabling their business to go into cloud. Think about it. Let's say if we need to build our house, right? We need an architect, right? First, architect is the first person who will say, okay, this is the structure looks like. These are things which you need to use it. Here is a cost might happen overall. All the similar, more or less similar to that. You can analyze it. I think if you see here, the way from top to bottom, you can think of these as descending order of payment or salaries, what they get. The topmost cloud architects are the topmost paying compared to anyone else. Then comes data engineers. Certain companies call them as data scientists or data engineers. What do they do, right? Data, I think. So primarily, without cloud also these roles are there. But when you attach cloud, their role changes a lot extent. So without cloud, architect has to have experience on a lot of technology around implementation or figuring it out. Oh, they need to do a lot of exploration around, does this software is right for me or not? Does this design pattern is right for me or not? Of course, they need to do in cloud as well, but cloud will simplify a lot of things because cloud implicitly has implemented all those best practices, design practices. They need to just pick from very few in the first place, similar to data engineer as well. If it is outside of cloud, data engineer has to build a lot of ML, or they need to build a lot of analytics tools, or get a lot of multiple tools to work together. But when you go to cloud, there are already tools which work very smooth to get extent, or work with 2-3 tools to get understand data and build business reports, or help building the pipelines which are required there. So these guys, primarily cloud data scientists or data engineers, develop organization systems so that massive amount of volumes which are widely there across the organization, which are coming from different sources into the cloud infrastructure. How can they get that data into more effective way so that they can get best visible insights so that their CIOs, CXOs can take best decisions? That's what they do in general. Organize their data in a seamless and right fashion so that get the insights more. Then cloud engineers, I think this is one of the thing which is going everywhere. People want cloud engineers. It's a cloud engineer is responsible for managing aspects of company cloud strategies. Okay, cloud architect define the strategy. Okay, here is the strategy. We will go to this cloud. Here is the way path will decide. This is the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 will implement these things. To implement those strategies, what cloud architect laid out, along with the cloud architect, cloud engineers work together to make those strategies into implementation. Right? So they work along with architects to ensure the strategy is implemented. I'm not going deep there because I'm just giving the at least highlight information, different roles. What is there? An engineer, cloud engineer could work with different services which are there. If someone is working on only infrastructure, cloud engineer, they might work on building multiple Linux machines to scale for their system, or they might work on Kubernetes kind of thing. They might work on Docker. They may build an application kind of thing. Overall, their role is to implement the strategy which is laid out by architect. Some senior cloud engineers are also cloud architects. Depends on company to company. So the other few more things like cloud consultant, sales specialist. I think sales fall into technical as well as non-technical, both. Sales specialist is someone who is having technical knowledge, but not so much extensive or deep as engineers or architect, but they should be able to address and answer questions around cloud and their infrastructure or their services when they're discussing with their business partners or clients. We can call them consultants, sales specialists, where they say, oh, here is a business, probably this system, this cloud is right for you. And here is a way you can go in it. So they primarily get the business, or before it goes to architect, these guys deep dive more on those. Then next is DevOps engineer, where, okay, development happened, strategy happened, but how do they make this complete installations, infrastructure development into operational efficiencies more, right? So it is like your continuous integration pipelines, continuous deployments, or cloud provides multiple options. You can log into cloud websites, web page, and do it manually, or it provides scripting where you can automate all the infrastructure setup, all those things, plus application development, deployment, all those things. DevOps engineers mainly focus on automating these deployment life cycles, CI/CD pipelines, or infrastructure as code. So every time someone need not go and click it. If something goes down, how can the other thing come up? Scalability kind of thing. DevOps really takes care of those things in the cloud environment primarily. And then the other thing is cloud security specialist. Given cloud is available for us, the end users, but it has to be deployed and architected in a security intensive way, so that right set of principles are applied, right set of permissions are given, right set of roles are given. Not everybody is having super admin user. Not everybody is having write access. Not everybody is having read access. So there are a lot of security aspects going into the picture. So security specialists primarily responsible for ensuring the integrity and security of the company in line with their company policies and applying those in the cloud as such. So they do a lot of auditing against threats, security threats, or defend against the security threats which are happening to their cloud environment. While cloud providers provide all these things, tools, but it has to be implemented for their organizations, because each organization might have their own security principles or policies as such, right? And if they identify any breaches, how can they recover from the breaches, how can they protect security data? And their goal is to eliminate the security gaps overall and reduce the security gaps so that breach occurs in the first place. If breach occurs, how can they protect it and save the business downtime or overall impact to the end user, not losing credentials, any information, all these things. So security, this is one of the hottest market within the cloud as well as outside the cloud itself, security. And there will be always demand for security specialist, and it's one of the very niche and very deep skill, which people needs a lot of focus, understand the fundamentals of technology, computer, how it works, different exchange information, how they work, all those things. They need to be expert in that. The next one is support engineer. Okay, we have deployed, developed everything, right? There has to be someone who maintain it, right? Something goes wrong or not, someone to monitor it, all those things. So those are support engineers who usually work with their business partners, everyone, all those things to make sure it is supported 24/7, all those things. Their roles for support engineers as well, right? Then the administrators. Okay, let's say I'll give a class analogy, right? Okay, we get MacBook or we get a Windows machine laptop, right? Or we have Windows server, let's say. Can everybody go and install Windows in the right way with right security, right infrastructure, right patterns, all those things? Not necessarily, right? Not everybody, being an engineer, they need not know the administration capabilities of a given software or a given Linux or given network also, right? So there's a demand for administrators. It could be database administrators, it could be network administrators, it could be overall application administrators, anything you can think of, right? They primarily develop, enforce policies. They say, okay, these are the standards which we need to apply for managing these servers, all those things. But they take care of them, and they day to day they'll update it. They find out, okay, are there any patches to be updated? We need to upgrade all those things. They'll take care of those things. So that's about technical roles. Coming to non-technical roles, I think these non-technical roles are primarily for anyone who is not technically sound, but still, if someone is technically very good, they can also go into these non-technical roles, like product managers, right? Who is product manager, right? If you see, let's say if I need to build a mobile application for a business, right? Product managers will define how the product should look like, what's the strategy, how the product should look like, what different flows should be there, what kind of value does the product provide to the end users. They are the product managers. Then coming to cloud, how do they do it? Okay, our business vision is this one. What kind of tools which we need to use, or services which cloud providers are providing, which will go in line with our business strategy and merge here. So that's the strategy which product managers will provide. So those kind of roles are also available. Sales executives, where like sales managers, who is not really technical, but they go and take the presentations from engineering teams or sales specialists, and then go and go to the different companies, or it's like marketing team primarily. More than marketing, after marketing, executives who will go and convey or discuss and close the deals with sales, clients about why they should purchase, what's the business value, what's the impact going to the cloud will provide, all those things. For this, having more communication skills, closing skills, ability to talk to people in a right way, convince them with right data points is important. In the cloud program manager, right? When a company is moving from non-cloud to cloud, it is a massive exercise where small companies are becoming it. And not just one team will look at. Of course, for startups, it can be 5-6 people, they'll start with it. We might not see so many roles in startups. But in bigger organizations where they're moving towards cloud, all the operations can't be done with one team, right? There will be multiple teams, hundreds of teams or tens of teams, 2-digit teams kind of thing, where they'll have it. There'll be a lot of programs being run. Okay, we need to get infrastructure, one program. We need to get security, another program. We need to get application, another program. Multiple programs will be running from business standpoint or milestone standpoint. There is a need for project and program managers who will oversee all these things within the cloud with the cloud knowledge, whether these guys are going on pace or they unblock themselves, helping the teams. I think these are the non-technical roles which are available. There are other roles that are cloud leaders who are leading the organizations with cloud capabilities. They don't know do anything, but they understand the impact of cloud, what the vision of cloud organization. Multiple roles are there, but I think overall these are the roles which are there. And if you guys, I think I would highly recommend you to go into individual cloud providers, see for each of these roles, there is specialist learning skills kind of thing are there. Let's move to next. Great. I think probably this is the last slide where we'll talk about technically around how can you start journey, right? So here coming to this, right? Overall. Okay, good. Cloud is exciting. There is a good focus. How to start, right? Okay, before I go to this, how did I was transform myself from non-cloud to cloud? I think this is a story from almost 7+ or 8 years back, where I was about to start cloud journey, which was evolving from AWS standard at the moment. A lot of services which you guys know were not even there. When I started, only EC2, elastic containers were there. I think that's one of the only service, and load balancers. I think only 2 services were there in starting. And other than that, there are no services as such. So during that period, how did I start? I think those are principles which I'm trying to mention here. Primarily, I was researching whether cloud will have good future or not. What are the other providers in the cloud? How are the markets? Why use all this? What are we discussing? So primarily, the first step is do your research. Figure out which, because there are multiple clouds, right? You have AWS, you have GCP, you have Azure, you have IBMs, you have lot, Alibaba cloud, lot of things, right? And each cloud has the way of working is different. Their focus is different. From the way their focus on technology is different. Let's say if someone is really good in Microsoft technology, they have been working, for example, they are good in C#, C++, or they are good in Windows technology. Should they focus completely outside of their Windows technology to something else versus should they focus on Azure only? I think those kind of research, as an individual, you have to do it, right? What does passionate you? What is important for you? Or at the same time, whether you want to be a developer, whether you want to go into security, whether you want DevOps, whether you want to be a support role, but someone who hasn't done any development. First, probably they might need to, they should start as a support engineer first, learn the basics, learn improvement, and then move to developer roles, and from there to architect roles. For example, someone who has done their MBA in some finance or something, right? They want to go to IT industry, for example, right? They should look into, okay, can they go into sales first, understand sales, work there for a few years, get good understanding of sales, then go to program manager, then go into architects. I think overall, you should research yourself with the available resources and where you want to be. And that's first thing. Second thing is use online resources. When I say online resources, companies, cloud providers themselves provide a lot of online resources. Whether you go to Google Cloud, there is a lot of education provided from Google Cloud itself. Amazon as well, Azure as well, right? Use online resources. And there are a lot of blogging or people put on videos in YouTube kind of thing. But there's massive amount of information. Don't just get lost in the information which is there. Pick right things which can help you and from reputable resources, right? Use them as such. Then get into training program, probably do some training programs, either virtually or in physical, where you can get the experience of training. How does cloud program, doing some practical things around that. While you all do all those things, hands-on is the paramount for anyone, right? Whether you're a salesperson, you'll be able to understand as a sales pitch to someone with the hands-on experience. That means you should be able to explicitly define why someone should use this cloud for their business use case. Unless you do hands-on, if you're a developer, you should be practicing developing in cloud in a given specific technology, whatever it is. And if you can get certified in cloud, like if you do cloud introduction certifications like associate architect or any other architect, it will be helpful, for example. And there are a lot of high level or specific domains or specific certifications there, but that's the way I'll recommend. But along with all these things, stay up to date with the industry, be in touch, be in the community of cloud, understand what's happening. Having said this, the fundamentals are more important. Programming, computer, communication skills, interpersonal skills, having domain knowledge. Let's say if you are already in electronics, telecommunication, see if you can go into telecommunication along with cloud. I think that's what I would say. I think one of the other thing is go and visit individual cloud providers. They have their own free sessions. Usually they provide basics, plus they have good amount of documentation. For example, if you are fascinated about, hey, how is cloud helping health industry? For example, someone is having, go and research in there. They'll have use cases as well. They'll give use cases how GCP is helping healthcare industry to go to the next level, or how GCP is helping their telecommunication providers to make more revenue. You'll find every information. First of all, you should go and check it and figure out someone who can help you to navigate this journey is more important. Plus, at the same time, learning is more important. Just not watching videos, but doing the hands-on. See, a lot of people come to me or usually comes and, hey, I'm a certified architect in AWS GCP. But when I start talking about them about some technology around GCP, how did you do this for this specific case? What kind of services you use? A lot of folks, not everyone, but a lot of folks don't even talk about how they can implement that. So people getting certification is different versus getting knowledge is different. Having certification alone will not give anyone a good job or sustain a job. Having certification plus that experience is more important. Get the insights. I think mix those things. You'll get good package, good company. There's no limit or there is no shortage of jobs. Go and search. Companies are looking for experts. Literally, they are looking for experts. And it will take time to get anything which is good. You can get something which is very less, very quickly, but to get it will take time. You need to do hard work. Anyone has to do hard work, learn, and project in the right way. Right? I think that's what I think. Given the time, let's move on. Yeah, I think thanks for listening to me till now. Thank you so much. Appreciate everyone taking time. I think which means you guys want to achieve and get into something which is great. Not everybody can do this. The reason I'm saying this is I know people who take bold step to attend these sessions, has passion to do something. I think continue their passion, learn. Everyone, there is a lot of plenty of opportunities. Yeah, thanks everyone.